You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places, and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Cakefield. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
You ready? Good afternoon. I'm Harold Medlock. I'm the police chief for Fayetteville, North Carolina. We're here today to talk about Operation Safe Summer. I'm joined here today by City Council, by Mayor Nat Robertson, by many of our police officers that will be engaged in this operation over the summer months. But most importantly, I am joined by my student government Chiefs Advisory Council from 71st High School, and I appreciate all of you being here with us today. These young folks have served as an advisory council for me through 2015, and we expect that to continue right up as we go forward, and then we add other high schools. So thanks so much for being here with me today, folks. So I want to tell you a little bit about Operation Safe Summer, but more importantly, I want to tell you why we are here today and why this is so important. As many of you know, this past weekend we had an impromptu house party here in Fayetteville. That party resulted in essentially a gunfight on the streets of one of our quiet neighborhoods in this city. It was involving as many as 20 people at the house party. Luckily, not all of those folks were engaged in this criminal activity. But as a result of it, on Sunday morning, we had a young man who lost his life, who was killed, and two others who were seriously injured. More importantly, every person that lived in that surrounding area, or as importantly, every person that lived in that surrounding area when this gunfight occurred, we're in danger. We're in grave danger because many, many shots were fired. And as you know, we have done all we can to help keep our young people safe in our city. As I began my discussions with many of these young folks back in January of 71st High School, one of the things that many of these folks brought up in those sessions were that they want to be able to go to parties, high school parties, but they want to be able to be safe. That's a concern with many of these young folks. In fact, I'd say all of these young folks behind me today. And it is my obligation, it's my duty, it's the duty of all these officers in uniform and the responsibility of our city council to do all we can to keep our young people in our city safe while they participate in a legal activity such as a house party. And we intend to do that. This past Sunday morning, as I rolled out of bed to respond to Wagon Wheel Court and the shooting that occurred there, the police radio was alive with activity. And I heard at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, a number of officers that were dispatched across our city to other house parties that had become too loud, too boisterous, and too out of control, that one of the neighbors or perhaps someone who was at the party had requested 911 assistance for us to go out and help them bring things under control. Luckily, we only had the one tragedy that we had on Sunday morning. I do want to share with you too that from Friday night at about 9 o'clock in the evening until Sunday morning at about 5 o'clock in the morning, the Fayetteville Police Department responded to what we can document as 18 different parties that became out of control. Now that doesn't include during the day Saturday, and of course it only includes the nighttime hours, but that is a high number of activities, parties, y'all come on up, high number of parties that really were out of control that we didn't know about. We had as you know, we have the house party registration. We had no registrations for house parties, and so we spent a lot of time over those nights chasing those parties down and really reacting after those parties had already begun. So our plan, the Fayetteville Police Department plan for the summer months, will be to use 12 officers, 3 teams of 4 officers and supervisors that will do nothing on Thursday this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because of graduation night. We will do nothing but have those officers responsible for responding to reports of house parties that are not registered. And it's not to break those parties up, it's to make sure that they are safe. We want our officers, and we're going to we have already chosen the officers to be engaged in this. We will pay them overtime, because we don't have the number of officers working the streets on a nightly basis to be able to break that number of officers away. So we'll pull them back in, pay them overtime, and those officers will be proactive in identifying those parties, reaching out to the folks that are involved in them, making sure that they know that we're available for them, and keep a close eye on those parties. Those are the ones that would not be registered. In addition, we will also respond to those parties that have been registered. I'm past asking, I'm begging parents and our youth to please at least let us know when there's going to be a party involving a lot of kids. What we're finding and what we found last weekend is that all of the people that were at that party, as in most others, weren't necessarily invited by the party giver. Other people were invited after they had been invited through social media. And so we're asking our parents, I'm begging our parents, I'm begging our youth across this city to please go online and register through the city website for the house party registration. Additionally, we are set up to accept texts to 911. Many times a person finds themselves in the position of being at one of these parties or perhaps even throwing the party, and now it's out of control. And they're afraid to call 911 because they're afraid somebody will see them doing that. But they can text us. And all they have to do is text. All of the major carriers are on board with us here in Fayetteville. All they have to do is text 911, give us the address, and we'll have officers come by and make sure that the party is safe. A lot of times just police presence nearby is going to calm things down. We don't want to break the party up. We want to keep some young person from dying. That's what it's all about. So the officers that we'll pick for this assignment will be great communicators. They will be officers that relate well to our youth and officers that really know how to de-escalate a situation. We're not about breaking parties up. We simply want to make sure that our youth, our young people are safe, and so that all of these young people here and all of their friends in our city can be safe this weekend and every weekend across the summer. The city of Fayetteville and the Fayetteville Police Department can't afford financially to do this. It's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars to do it. We can't afford to do it financially, but we can't afford not to do it. And this department is committed to making sure that my friends back here are safe through this summer. I'm going to introduce Mayor Nat Robertson now for a few comments, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to thank the Youth Advisory Council for being here as well and helping us get the good word out on the great things that we're doing. You know, I hope it's evident that we are serious about cracking down on the violence that some of these pop-up parties foster. I'd like to thank Chief Medlock for his dedication in keeping our community a safe place to live and to work. And I'd like to thank Councilmember Mitch Colvin for standing up and taking the lead to keep our neighborhoods whole and violence-free. I'd also like to thank Councilmembers Wright, Moan, Arp, and Kathy Jensen for being here and their strong support for the reduction of crime and a safer community. Chief, in full support of Operation Safe Summer, at the next work session of the Fayetteville City Council, I will introduce an ordinance that will carry a penalty of $500. This will allow our patrol officers the ability, upon responding to the same residence, business, or venue twice, to fine the property owner $500 each time the police are called. We're also encouraging our officers to use the North Carolina General Statutes to issue criminal citations, violations of the law, on top of the current ordinances. This criminal charge will penalize the residents who are causing the problem. So allow me to summarize what I just said. If the police are called to your party more than once, the property owner will receive a $500 fine for each service. Also, the person responsible for having the party will receive a criminal summons to appear in district court. Operation Safe Summer is a call for all parents to know what your children are doing. Now is the time to impose yourself in your child's life. You've got to know. You've got to learn more about what they are doing when they leave the house. You've got to ask the questions that can save their lives. Set the example and keep your teenagers safe. I remain very serious about keeping our neighborhoods and our streets safe here in Fayetteville. I believe that Operation Safe Summer does just that. Again, I will say, if you are part of the criminal element or you have intent on creating chaos here in Fayetteville, you're not wanted. I invite you to leave our city now, or you're going to jail. I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate the youth advisors for the chief being here, and what a tough job you have in keeping this man straight, and that's all I can say. I hope everyone has a great summer. Thank you very much.
We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have now.
Chief, how serious, how big is this crisis now for Fayetteville?
Well, Greg, you know, the thing that struck me, I laid awake one night this week thinking about this, and in 4 of the 5 recent deaths involving house parties, the Fayetteville Police Department have responded and broken the party up. And yet young people still died. We have to find a way to address this. We have traditionally done a great job at breaking up an out-of-control party, but due to the ability for social media contacts, as soon as we leave, either the folks come back or they agree to meet somewhere else. We have to be better connected to the folks at the parties so that they know that if it starts to kick back up, that they just need to let us know. We can come back and help them mitigate that. It's not that we want to break a party up. It's that we want to better interact, better communicate with one another so that the young folks feel comfortable enough that we're going to do the right thing, that they'll let us know when a problem starts to pop up. And that's what it's all about.
Chief, given your networking with other cities, is this unique to our town or is it happening everywhere?
I don't know that this is happening anywhere else, Jeff. It may be, but I just, out of desperation, that's why we're here today. I am desperate to keep our young people alive in this city.
Let me ask the mayor, or maybe the chief can answer this. If a person who's throwing the party calls or texts 911 and say, hey, it's getting a little bit out of control, can you help us? Your officers respond. Does that count towards the $500 ordinance violation?
Now, as long as we're able to communicate with them, we want to make sure that the young people have a good time. I mean, come on. We were all young. We all did very similar things when we were young. In fact, some of us, I would submit, did worse things when we were young. And it's a part of growing up. The difference is us old folks lived in a different time. And the worst that you were going to have back in the day was a fist fight. It's not that way anymore. A disagreement, a slight, a dishonorment of one person to another to party can turn into a gunfight just like that. So again, we're trying to develop a relationship with our young people. We want to communicate with them. That's why we're dedicating these officers to be good communicators, to be good de-escalators, to make sure that when they roll up, they're not looked at as the bad guys, but as someone that can facilitate making sure that everybody at the party has a good time.
Just for a point of clarification, the $500 ordinance fine is for the homeowner, maybe the complaint is called in by a neighbor?
Right,
or
right.
nobody in that house?
Correct. That's correct. If a neighbor calls, it's really too late at that point. We need someone at that party to keep us apprised of what's going on. They're not narking or anything else. They're just letting us know that there's an event here, and a lot of times just driving the marked police car by the house is enough to keep folks calm. But again, having those officers that are specially selected to be folks that the kids feel comfortable talking to when they do get there I think is critically important.
Chief, these parties that have passed, these last four fatal parties, appear to be concentrated in one section of the city. Is that where your officers will concentrate their efforts?
No, sir. We will have 3 teams, one for each district, 4 officers per district, and we will have a supervisor with each of them. So we want to make sure that every district is covered, that we're able to give close support to the parties. Again, I don't want folks to think that we're putting in a party police to stop the parties. It's not that. It's to make sure that these young people are able to enjoy one another's company, just like we did when we were young, and again, feel safe. There's an element in our community that hang on to these parties. One person texts another, who then gets to the criminal element, and that's where things start to go sideways. And so when our young people see that person that they don't know or that person that scares them, that's when we're asking them to text 911 or someone to let us know that there's a problem if they have not registered the party.
Chief Medlock, this young lady right here, Crystal, has a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we know that what you say is going to happen will happen the way you plan it
The question is, how do the youth know that what I say is going to happen out there? You know what? No, come on. This is Crystal?
Yes.
Oh, Blake, what's your last name?
Crystal Nicholas.
Oh, there you go, Crystal Nicholas. So Crystal asked the question, how do they know that what I'm saying is actually going to happen when they make the call? And the best I can tell you is you're going to have to trust us. If we don't do the right thing, this will go away quickly because we'll never get any more calls from you. So we have to have the right officers in play. They have to know how to talk to young people. And I look around and I've got a few of these young officers around that aren't much older than you. And they're not that far out of going to house parties themselves. So I'm looking at the 12-year-old officer right over here. So I'm messing with you, man. I love you. But you've got to have people. First, you've got to trust us to do the right thing by you, and that's what we're counting on, is that you give us a chance. You give us a chance, we'll give you a chance.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yes.
All right. Crystal, oh, come on, Crystal, hold on.
In a way, yeah, because, oh, I have talking to Mike. In a way, yes. I mean, I don't like seeing my friends or people that I may know get shot and stuff like that. It hurts a lot because I grew up here, and seeing how the community has changed is like, wow, it's crazy. But with this program, I think it will help a lot. You're welcome.
Awesome job. Well, it's out of our overtime budget. What I'm afraid of is for the next couple of weeks until the new year, I'm getting close to really using up all of my overtime for this year. So we'll find a way to pay for it. If we have to take it from some other part of the department budget and our personnel budget, we'll find a way to make this happen, but we can't afford not to. One life is just not worth a few dollars of having officers out there. Absolutely. I'm not going to lose anything. I'm committed to not losing anything out of this. We have to do the right thing by our city. We have to do the right thing by these young people. These are the future, folks, and I want them to feel as comfortable being able to do what they do as young people lawfully as they can. It is important that we give them the environment to do that. And again, this is a radical idea. These are radical times. Do you have
I wanted to address the piece about the budget, if I could, because this city council has stood strong behind the chief and his new programs and making sure that he has the resources that he needs to keep this community safe. Let me remind you, over the past year and a half or so, we had a double-digit decrease in crime last year. We're on the path to do it again this year. This city council is dedicated to make Fayetteville a safe place and competitive with any other city in the state of North Carolina. And we will give the chief the resources he needs to do that.
You don't know of any other cities in North Carolina that are doing something like this?
Greg, I really don't. And you know what? I may have some other chiefs across the state that say I'm crazy, but you know what? We're going to be innovative. We're going to try new things to see that it works. I'm trying to listen to my advisors. Again, I've met with these young folks a couple of times this year. The things that they have shared with me, Principal Williams out of 71st, the things that they have shared with me, they're not afraid of us. They want to get to know us. This is another way for them to do that, and it's also a very good way to keep them safe. Principal Williams, you had a question. Okay, good. Folks, thanks for being here today. We appreciate you being here.
When does it start, Chief?
Thursday night. Graduation night.